Hello and welcome to another episode of A Woman's Brew. In today's episode, we're going to be talking beer glassware. As well as our longer episodes where we get together and we talk about beer, we're going to do some shorter solo episodes where we go out and visit places and where we give you some educational content. My name is Joanne and we are beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about the world's favourite beverage. Come join us. On today's episode, you're just getting me, and I wanted to talk to you about beer glassware. Whenever you're tasting beer at home, you should always decant it out of the bottle or the can that it comes into, but you have such a wide choice of beer glasses that you can choose from. So I thought I would explain some of the different styles to you today. We're going to start with this little guy down here. This is one of those straight-sided pint glasses that you see in pubs and bars. This is called a shaker pint glass. My one's a mini one that I got at a festival. These were not actually designed to have beer in them. They were designed to go on the top of a cocktail shaker to cover it when you're shaking, hence the name shaker. So it's not really designed as a glass that's good for beer. The straight up sides don't capture any aroma or the head. So if you're in a good beer bar and you get offered one of these, I would ask for a different glass. And I have done. My next glass choice for you is the German Weiss beer Vars. So these tall Vars looking glasses, hence the name, are used for Weiss beers in Germany. They are thin at the bottom so you can get your hand around them and you are holding the least amount of beer. They then curve upwards and out slightly in a bulb type way to open up the flavours, but then they taper back in slightly at the top to capture the head, which is really important on a Weiss beer because you want a nice thick creamy head on your beer there. So that's a very classic German glass. They're very big, so you want a nice big beer to go into those. Our next choice is the snifter. Those are the glasses. They've got a round glass bottom and then a stem, and then they are quite bulbous. They are a bowl shaped glass. This one that I have here is a Delirium Tremens glass, and you will see that all of the Belgian beers have their own proprietary branded glasses. So making sure in Belgian beer bars and when you're in Belgium, you will get given the correct glass for your beer. And sometimes if they've run out of that glass for that beer, they won't serve you the beer. But back to the snifter. So it's a bulbous glass, almost like a brandy glass, if you know what one of those looks like. It's bowl-like at the bottom. Again, that's to open up the flavours and aromas of the beer. The stem means that you're not touching too much of the beer to cool it down. And then it tapers in at the top to capture the head and the aromas for you. And you can get your nose right in these and get a really good sniff there, hence the name snifter. Our next type of glass is the stemmed tulip glass. Now this has also got a round base. These are for good stability. They have a stem, hence stemmed tulip glass, and it is slightly bowled at the bottom and then tapers in towards the top. The bowl shape again opens up the aromas and the flavours, and then it tapers in to capture the head and the aromas at the top. This is a nice little half pint version that I got at the Great British Beer Festival. These are really good for tasting, and you'll often find that a lot of beer bars have these because they're great for tasting beers in. Captures the aroma, opens up the flavours. You're not putting too much heat on from your hand onto the glass. My final one in my line here is the classic German stein. Now this one I have here is only a small one. It's a ½ litre. Normally you get them in 1 litres. They are straight sided, but they are dimpled. They have a handle and they're quite heavy. And these are designed to get lots of beer in, so you haven't got to keep going up and getting more beer. So very traditional. And of course you will see the stein holding competitions, where you can see how long you can hold it out for, because they are quite heavy, even before they've got beer in them. And if you watch any of the Oktoberfest videos, you will see the waitresses and the waiters carrying armfuls of them. Those people must have to do so much exercise to be able to carry those around. Similar to the German beer stein, we have the English dimple glass. I've got a little baby one here. It's that one that you will have seen in English pubs. It's got little dimples in the glass. It's got a handle. It's quite rounded. This is a very traditional glass for English beers, such as bitters, English bitters, ESBs, English pale ales, things like that. So that's a very traditional glass. It's not designed for the best of flavours, but it is just very nice looking. My personal favourite glass for drinking at home, as I have said previously, is a Teku glass. So they have a nice rounded bottom for stability, because they are quite top heavy. They've got a nice long thin stem, and then they are a bold shape at the bottom. They're a slightly more sharp bold shape than a snifter or a tulip. They then taper in and then sharply come out at the top. So that opens up the flavours around the middle in the bold part, and then you taper in, it captures the aromas, and you get a nice capturing of the head at the top here. That's my personal favourite for tasting at home. And then there are more proprietary and newer beer glasses being designed all the time. One of the newest that I've seen breweries doing is an Allegra glass. So these are the short ones that are almost bowl-like. They have no stem. They're just a flat bottom that sits down. Quite an ordinary looking glass. This one I have here is a Wander Beyond one. I'm not a massive fan of these because you have to hold them in your hand. So it is going to warm up whatever beer you're drinking very quickly. That is alright if you're drinking a stout, not so much if you're drinking a pale beer that you want to keep cooler. But these are quite sought after by breweries at the moment. Another glass that you're seeing lots of the craft beer companies having at the moment is the Craft Master glass. This one here is my Cloudwater one. It is small at the bottom, so you can get your hand almost all the way around it for a good grip, and then it bowls out and comes back in at the top. So you are holding the glass and the beer, but you are holding the least amount at the bottom. Then it opens out to open up the flavours and the aromas, and it tapers in at the top to capture those aromas and to give you a good head. Now, the Craft Master I have found is quite difficult to pour into, and you do end up with quite a large head on it. And if that's the beer style that you've got, then that's fine, but they can be a little bit difficult to pour into, but they are quite nice to look at. Another personal favourite of mine is the Harmony glass. Now this is the Brewdog Overworks glass. It looks like a wine glass. It's very thin and easy to break. This is my second one because I've already broken one. They look like very fine wine glasses. They've got a round bottom and a very skinny stem. You definitely need that to stabilise it because they are quite top heavy. But I really like a sour in this glass because it opens it up. You get all the interesting funky flavours in this glass, and it just makes you look a bit fancy. Love these glasses. Then my final glass for you today is another favourite of mine. I've got too many favourite glasses, I realise, and I've got a very large glass collection. Once you start buying them, you will get hooked, so be aware if you're going to start a beer glass collection. You've got to find somewhere to store them. This is my Sam Adams glass. This one I believe survived coming back from America. So the Sam Adams company took 2 years designing this glass with a glassmaker to get all the elements into this glass that they wanted for their beer drinkers. It's got quite a thick bottom for stability, but then like the Craft Master glass, it's small at the bottom and shaped so it sits nicely in your hand. You can get a good grip on it. It then bowls out to open up those flavours. It's quite a nice curve coming up round to the top, and then it gently curves in and back out again to capture the aromas and the head, and it's got a piece of beading around the top of the glass to capture that head. Your head is really important for keeping the aroma in, and the inside of this glass is also etched, so then it captures the streaming carbonation bubbles and makes them stream in the correct direction to open up the flavours of the Sam Adams beers. So that is specifically designed for their beers, and I think that's quite an important glass to have if you like Sam Adams beers, because it's exactly designed the way that they wanted their beers to be drunk. So, moral of the story is there's lots of beer glasses and you can have literally a cabinet full. I do. Choose your glass wisely, but really at the end of the day, just make sure you've got it in a glass, because part of our tasting experience is also seeing and being able to get into those aromas and flavours quite nicely and sticking your nose in it so you get a nice bit of the aroma as well. So please decant your beers into glasses. Choose whichever one you like, but always enjoy your beers from a glass. Cheers! If you've enjoyed this educational content today, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast for all the latest episodes. And if you'd like to learn more about beer and beer tasting, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Love Beer Learning, or at our website where we have a blog and where you can find all of our courses at www.lovebeerlearning.co.uk. See you soon.